Solo, the character that you have in your collection that you didn't even know could counter Darth Traya. That is what this video is going to focus on, so you guys can use a character that you have in your roster in order to combat the current meta that involves Darth Traya and Emperor Palpatine. Now, the first thing I want to show you is the team that I'm using with my Han Solo. So you'll see that it starts off with Commander Luke Skywalker as your lead, a very common character that I would hope most of you, if not all of you, are either working to or have already. Then you have your Grand Admiral Thrawn, you have your Captain Rex, who is a character that is universally present in the meta. He never seems to go away, so he's a character definitely worth investing in. Then you have your Han Solo, who's going to be featured in this video, as well as your Darth Nihilus, the only character with an Annihilate ability, and the Annihilate is better than the massive damage provided by certain characters like Savage Opress and Imperial Probe Droid. So if you don't farm these characters, these are characters that will last you through pretty much every single meta if you use them correctly. Now, let's start off by looking at the speeds of my team versus my opponent. Now, what you can see when you look at this is that my team is severely undermatched. There is almost no character except for Thrawn that has any speed that can really compare. So you can see that mods, while they do play a part in this, I can't go crazy slow on every single character. The mods aren't as important because this team really does counter the team that I am facing. And why? Why does it counter the team? Well, the thing to remember is that when you are facing teams in Arena, you don't want to try and do rock versus bigger rock or rock versus faster rock.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What you want to do is actually try and find the weakness in the team that you are facing and then try to exploit that with the team that combats it. And so with my team and the Sith team, the problem with the Sith team with Traya is that their base speeds are slower. That is what you want to take advantage of. So, while the number in parentheses may be a little bit slower on my end, what you will notice is that my total speeds are actually fairly competitive, and that is because my characters tend to have more speed as base speed, so they do not need as much of speed mods as other characters do in order to compete. One of the key things is going to be the Rex versus the Nihilus. I want my Rex to be faster than the opposition's Nihilus so that I can get up that tenacity up before he does the cooldown reduction. So the benefit for me is that Rex has 20 base speed advantage over Nihilus when maxed out. So you can have mods that are a little bit slower. Just make sure that your Rex is still fast. So those are the things you want to look at when you're trying to find counters to Traya teams or Emperor Palpatine lead teams or whatever meta comes in the future. Find the weakness, exploit it, and that is what I'm doing with this team. Now, the one thing you'll notice is that my Han Solo only has 11 speed. Now, why does Han only have 11 speed? How does that make him a counter to the Darth Traya? Well, the thing to remember is that there are other stats besides speed that are really important as you guys are developing your characters as well as farming mods. In particular, the other secondary stat that you should look for in mods besides plus speed as a secondary stat is plus offense. Plus offense is a great stat to utilize. It increases the damage of all of your characters when you stick it on there, and when you put it in mass amounts, you can really cause a difference. And on this character, on my Han Solo, he has plus 931 plus offense. That is what I focused on with my Han Solo. Now, this team that I came across was kind of by accident because my Han Solo was modded for the Heroic Sith raid in regards to Phase 3. Now, that's a separate discussion altogether. We're not going to go into Phase 3 of the raid here, but the Phase 3 of the raid is what my Han was modded for, and I used him in Arena and found out that he was a great counter to Darth Traya. And so when you watch this Arena battle, watch the damage. The damage is very impressive with this kind of plus offense from Han Solo, and in particular, the use of 2 of his abilities. The first one is Never Tell Me the Odds. This is his special ability that grants him 3 buffs: critical chance, critical damage, and evasion. Now, evasion doesn't necessarily play too much of a role when I'm talking about the damage. Obviously, you do want to have that evasion so Han Solo doesn't die too quickly. But when we're focusing on the damage aspect, the critical chance and the critical damage come very much into play as we look through this. The critical chance comes into play largely with his next special ability, Deadeye. And these are the two abilities that Han Solo will use in order to help you beat that Traya. So, with the critical chance up, with only 10% of critical chance from mods, just 10, plus his base critical chance, he is already over 67% critical chance. Add that with the plus 25 that you get after using Never Tell Me the Odds, and he is now at 92% critical chance. Now, why is that important? The reason it's important is because with Deadeye, you gain turn meter equal to his critical chance, which means once Han Solo uses his special ability Deadeye, he will gain 92% turn meter if you have Never Tell Me the Odds buffs on him. And so this is going to be one of the critical things to help Han go back to back in attacks against that Traya in order to destroy her. Then you have the critical damage. Now, I put some numbers on the screen, and you guys can look at that and follow those if you want. But here's the thing. If you do not add the 931 plus offense on Han, and you use Never Tell Me the Odds, and then you use Deadeye, you will average about 25,000 damage. And this is without any armor consideration. This is just from the statistics and the numbers from Han Solo himself. But if you add 931 plus offense, like I do on my Han Solo, he then goes up almost 9,000 damage.
It's over 9,000!
He will get over 34,000 damage without any armor consideration. So, with over 9,000 damage being added with my plus offense of 931, my Han Solo is ready to attack the Traya. So let's go ahead and watch the combat and see what we should be doing. So the first thing is that Han Solo will go first, and he will attack Thrawn. Now, why do you start off attacking Thrawn? Traya's unique is such that she will dispel any Sith ally of debuffs at the start of their turn. Thrawn is not a Sith. That is why you target Thrawn. So you start off by targeting Thrawn and you stun him. Now, in this situation, my Thrawn is actually faster than his. But in most cases on my Arena Shard, my Thrawn is actually slower. What does Han end up doing? Negates that. He negates the fact that Thrawn is faster by stunning him off the bat. So don't go looking around for other characters. The target for the stun from Han Solo is going to be your Thrawn. Now, the next character to go is going to be CLS. Now, CLS is actually slower than my Thrawn. So why is CLS going before Thrawn? It is because of his Learn Control ability and Emperor Palpatine's lead. Because Han Solo goes first, he is affected by Emperor Palpatine's unique that makes it so that rebels lose 20% of their max health at the start of their turn. And Han Solo starts off the battle with a turn. That bonus turn is considered a turn. So you will see that Han Solo lost protection right at the beginning, and if you're not sure why, it is Emperor Palpatine's unique. And because he took damage from Emperor Palpatine's unique, that triggered Commander Luke Skywalker's Learn Control ability. Now, this one does not require a Zeta. This does not need a Zeta. Mine does not have a Zeta on Learn Control. Learn Control will give Luke Skywalker 10% turn meter whenever a rebel ally takes damage. So Han Solo goes first, takes damage for Emperor Palpatine's unique, and boom! Luke Skywalker gains 10% turn meter and changes the turn meter of everything. And so now your Commander Luke is going to go before the Thrawn. So now your Commander Luke goes, and who do you target now? You have Thrawn stunned, or if he's faster, he will have no turn meter. So you don't have to worry about Thrawn. Emperor Palpatine, you are hoping to get your tenacity up from Rex up before he does his AoE stun, so you are not worried about Emperor Palpatine either. So the person you are going to target is actually Darth Nihilus. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, Commander Luke's special has buff immunity. Don't you want that on Sion because he taunts? The answer is no. And the reason is, if you put any kind of debuff on Sion, you are going to feed turn meter to Darth Nihilus. And Darth Nihilus loves feeding that turn meter. So you don't want to feed him that turn meter. So, because of that, you are not attacking Nihilus and you're not attacking Traya. Traya does the same thing to Nihilus. Do not give them debuffs before you are ready, because you will give Nihilus turn meter and he will do an AoE cooldown reduction on you and you will be stifled for the rest of the match. So, remember that you don't attack Sion, you don't attack Traya, you will attack Nihilus. So try to do the turn meter reduction on Nihilus. In this case, the turn meter was not reduced. He ended up resisting it. So once CLS does his attack, the next to go is Thrawn. Now, Thrawn, you do not want to do turn meter swap with Rex. This may be your first impulse. Why do you not do it? Because Darth Nihilus' unique has put a debuff on Thrawn, and when Thrawn does his turn meter swap, he will dispel himself. What does that trigger? Emperor Palpatine's leader ability. That will then feed turn meter to the entire squad, and now you may end up having issues with getting Rex to go. You're already going to have a little bit of an issue with the next step in getting Rex to go, and that's why it's important to have your Rex faster. What do you do with Thrawn? With Thrawn, you will fracture Sion. Get Sion out of the way. Do not let him go and dispel those tenacity up buffs. But here's the problem. Fracture is a debuff that will trigger Darth Nihilus. So that's why it's important to have a fast Rex and a fast Thrawn. Those are the two characters you want to focus your speed on. Now you'll see that you might have seen that I put mine on my Darth Nihilus. That is because I also use him in some other squads and it makes it more convenient for me. But if you are focusing on this team, make sure your Rex is faster than the opposing Nihilus. That is going to be your key, and as fast as possible above it. So you fracture Sion with your Thrawn, and the next to go is my Rex. Now my Rex is going to do his tenacity up, which also gives everybody turn meter. Now the next one to go is the Nihilus, which is fine. He does his AoE cooldown, and what do you see happen? Thrawn ends up countering because he has a fracture on Sion, which triggers his unique. CLS goes, and Han Solo attacks. So Thrawn is already, or Nihilus is already giving himself a lot of damage just simply by using his ability. So you're already off to the races in damaging this Sith squad even before you really had an opportunity to do a lot of damage. Once Nihilus goes, it is back to my CLS, and my CLS can now attack Darth Nihilus because Darth Nihilus is on the verge of death. Why leave him alive? Why leave the Lord of Hunger to suffer in pain? So let's go ahead and take out Darth Nihilus. Once you take him out, you can now focus on your other characters to take out. Traya goes and isolates Thrawn, and now it's Han Solo. Now, ideally here, you would do the never tell me the odds, but my Han Solo's cooldowns were reduced by the opposing Nihilus, so instead I'm going to focus on a character that's already weak, which is the Thrawn. So let's go ahead and start working on that Thrawn. We can start attacking him to take him out. And once we take him out, now Emperor Palpatine does his AoE, and he is going to trigger more counterattacks. He is on the verge of death. So let's go ahead and start taking out the Emperor Palpatine. No reason to keep him alive either. And now Emperor Palpatine is gone. That's right, Emperor Palpatine is gone. You now have a 5-on-2. And look whose turn it is again. It is Han Solo's turn. What do we want to do with Han Solo? We want to do never tell me the odds. You do never tell me the odds. You get all those buffs going. Go ahead and start attacking. Wait for it to get back to Thrawn. And now it is Thrawn's turn. Now what am I going to do with Thrawn? He is isolated. I can do a turn meter swap, but it's not really going to give anybody turn meter. He is isolated. There is no effect. But I also do not want to attack Sion and Traya because I do not want to start reducing the cooldowns of Sion, and I do not want to start giving more offense to Traya. So I am going to turn meter swap Han anyways. I'm going to add some protection to Thrawn. If you do not have Isolate, then you want to turn meter swap with Han, so your Han goes next. And in this case, my Han already has pretty much full turn meter, so I know he's going to go next. But in this scenario, Thrawn is basically a useless character, but I do not want to accidentally feed the uniques of Sion or Traya, so I am intentionally doing a waste move here. Now it comes back to Han, and then I focus on Traya. Now the first thing I do is use his Deadeye. Look at that, 36,000 damage. 36,000 damage on Traya. Love my Han Solo. So, Han Solo does 36,000 damage with the Deadeye, and then does 2 basics, and boom, Traya is gone. That's how quickly he took her out.
It's all a lot of simple tricks and nonsense.
So if you are worried about Traya, you can see why Han Solo is the Traya killer. And now you have a 5-on-1. That's right, a 5-on-1. At this point, it is all nothing but easiness and auto. So that is how you can use Han Solo in order to beat Darth Traya. He is a damage dealing machine, and he works through so many metas if you put the right team around him, that Han Solo can help you get through the suffering that is Darth Traya. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Work on your Han Solo. He is a great character in pretty much every facet of the game. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you on the next video.